Sports Authority to order. The first item for consideration is the minutes from the October 21st meeting. On Friday, you should have received the minutes from the October meeting, and I am open to questions or comments. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. So, our Title IX Spotlight series has been inspiring, informative, and a lot of fun. And this morning, I am super excited to honor Carolyn Peck, who is a dear friend of mine. We didn't play together, but we crossed paths. She is our November Spotlight. Carolyn is a fellow Vanderbilt Commodore, a national championship Division I coach, an ESPN basketball analyst, and so much more. She's also a member of our Women's Sports Advisory Committee. Carolyn, thanks for being here this morning at this time. And so now we're going to have Director Dan Hogan read the resolution, which will be followed by a video and an interview from our own Director, Margaret Pham.
Good morning. It is my pleasure and honor to read this. This resolution reflects a resume that is quite honestly astonishing. So strap in. A resolution honoring Carolyn Peck, ESPN basketball analyst and Vanderbilt Commodore. Whereas the Metropolitan Sports Authority of Nashville and Davidson County is participating in a year-long celebration of the 50th anniversary of Title IX on June 23rd, 2022, and desires to recognize Nashvillians who have made not only a significant and long-lasting impact as an athlete, but have also opened doors, removed barriers, and encouraged participation in sports for girls and women. And whereas Jefferson City native Carolyn Peck was Tennessee's Miss Basketball at Jefferson County High School, a parade All-American and one of the nation's top recruits. And whereas Peck went on to play basketball at Vanderbilt University from 1985 to 1988, where she earned a bachelor's degree in communications and averaged 10.6 points per game and 5.8 rebounds, becoming the program's first All-American candidate, the school's #6 career scorer, and played on the team that earned the school's first NCAA tournament bid. And whereas Peck, after graduating and working in corporate America, returned to the game of basketball, playing professionally overseas in Italy and China. And whereas Peck began her coaching career as an assistant to Lady Vols coach Pat Summitt, became an assistant coach at the University of Kentucky after 2 championship seasons at the University of Tennessee, and served as an assistant coach for USA Basketball. And whereas Peck, after serving as head coach at Purdue University for 2 seasons, won the 1999 NCAA championship, making history as the first black coach of women's Division I national championship basketball team. And whereas Peck served 3 seasons as head coach and general manager of the WNBA's Orlando Miracle, a stint that included a trip to the 2000 WNBA playoffs. And whereas Peck was the head coach for 5 seasons at the University of Florida, then returned to her alma mater as assistant head coach at Vanderbilt for 2 seasons. And whereas Peck originally joined ESPN in 2001, returned in 2007 as a basketball analyst for both college and professional women's and men's basketball, including the NBA and WNBA, and is currently an analyst for ESPN and SEC and the SEC Network's women's college basketball coverage. And whereas Peck was inducted into the Vanderbilt Hall of Fame in 2013, inducted into the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame in 2014, was named the Women's Basketball Coach of the Year by the Associated Press in 1999, and in 1999 was also the first woman and African American to win the Winged Foot Award, honoring the best coach in college basketball. Whereas Peck, who has used her platform to promote and grow women's basketball, is one of the most accomplished national figures in women's basketball. Be it therefore resolved that the Metropolitan Sports Authority of Nashville and Davidson County, as part of its celebration of the 50th anniversary of Title IX, honors and recognizes Carolyn Peck for her contributions to women's sports at the local, state, national, and international levels.
I like playing. I love playing. I love playing. I also love coaching. I think that they all have had, you know, a special part in being an analyst now, because I can look at it from a player's perspective. I can look at it from a coach's perspective. And when I prepare as an analyst, I prepare both teams as if I'm coaching against each one, so that you can talk about the strategies during the game. So I guess as an analyst, it's the best of all worlds.
Carolyn Peck had a tremendous high school career. She was a parade All-American at Jefferson City, Tennessee. She averaged 35 points, 13 rebounds, and Carolyn was a high-profile recruiting target, and she was actually one of the first superstar high school recruits that Vanderbilt University was fortunate enough to land. Carolyn went on, had an excellent career at Vanderbilt, graduated in 1988, went on and had an outstanding coaching career, national championship coach at Purdue, head coach at Florida, head coach in WNBA, and now has blossomed into one of the stars on ESPN television.
Phil Lee was the head coach here at Vanderbilt, and he really started recruiting me from when I was a freshman. And at that time, wasn't a time of early commitment, so I was extremely flattered. And I came here for a pre-engineering program during my junior year, the summer of my junior year, and I fell in love with it. And then I decided to commit. And you know, my parents were real sticklers on academics and the reputation, and Phil Lee sold me on the fact that once you get a degree from Vanderbilt, be a lot easier to get a job. They had never been in the NCAA tournament, and so I wanted to be a part of something to make a difference, and so that's why I chose to come to Vanderbilt. After I graduated from college, I actually worked here in Nashville for WSNV TV. I sold television advertising, and so I did that for a little while. Then I went from that to Merck Sharp and Dome and sold pharmaceuticals, and then I realized that I missed the game, and I wanted to play. So I went overseas and I played in Italy, and then I went to Japan. I had never been out of the country before, and I'm a small town girl from East Tennessee. And so it was a big jump for me to go from Jefferson City to Nashville, let alone go to Europe. But you grow up and you figure it out, and then you finally get to go. When I came back, I ran into Mickey DeMoss at University of Kentucky at a sports festival tryout, and she mentioned to me that Pat might have an opening on her staff at Tennessee. So I was like, I don't know if Pat will consider me, because I turned her down to play ball, but she did, and I went right in as her restricted earnings coach at Tennessee. From Tennessee, I was an assistant coach at Kentucky, and Nell Fortner then got the head job at Purdue. And I had known Nell when she was an assistant at Louisiana Tech, because we went through a lot of recruiting battles and game battles, Tennessee and Louisiana Tech. And then when she got the head job, she offered me to come and be her first assistant. So I go to Purdue. Well, then after our first year at Purdue, Nell was offered to go be the world championship coach that was eventually going to be the Olympic coach. And at the time, in order to do that, she could not be the head coach at Purdue. And so she called us all together. She said, I've got some good news and some bad news. So I said, well, what's the bad news? And so she tells us about her coaching opportunity to go coach the world championship team. I said, well, now that's good news. And she said, no, the good news is I have recommended to Purdue for them to name you as the head coach. And I said to her, have you lost your mind? There is a lot of pressure, and that goes back to what Lynn Dunn had done at Purdue. She had taken Purdue to a Final Four. It had always been a winning program in the Big Ten. And, but the one thing that I had was the pedigree of working with Pat Summitt. And so, you don't look too far ahead, you just work. And she was the first person I called, and I said, Pat, what do I do? And she goes, get prepared. And then she said for me to bring in some consulting people to watch me coach and look at my practice plans that, you know, had done it before. And I did that, and that really helped. My first year as a head coach, we went to the Elite Eight. And I was the only person in our program that had ever been to a Final Four, because I was with Tennessee when they lost to Connecticut in the national championship. So I knew what it felt like to get there. I still didn't know what it felt like to win a national championship. But after the Elite Eight game, I then called Pat, and she said, if you want to be a national championship program, you've got to act like one. And so it just started, you know, everything that we did, that we talked about, the focus and the leadership that Steph and Kari brought. But also in that summer in between, I was offered the job to go be the general manager and head coach of the WNBA team, start that franchise in Orlando. We worked out the deal, and I got to coach and stay at Purdue one more year. And asked the team to stay completely focused. I wouldn't think about the WNBA. I wouldn't expose them to that. And I think that that focus, at the end of that summer, we were able to take the team to Europe. We got 10 days of practice. We went to Europe, did some traveling together, did some team bonding, and then we went on our journey from 98 to 99 all the way to San Jose. I miss college basketball, because when you're coaching in the WNBA and professionally, it's a business. And if you're not winning games, you've got to make changes. And you're ending a woman's dream of playing professionally when you've got to make those kind of changes. As opposed to college, you're recruiting players to help them grow. And you know that you're going to have them for at least 4, sometimes 5 years. And you help them to develop, not just on the court, but off the court. And that's something in college basketball that I really love.
Carolyn's had a unique ability to reinvent herself as a player. There were young kids that would look up to her when she was one of our first stars. Certainly she was somebody that people that aspired to play basketball would look up to. She goes on and becomes a top coach, influenced a lot of people in that way. And now she has a lot of impact on television. She's somebody that helps define the game and inspires people every night she's on TV. We think so much of her at Vanderbilt that in the last year we have inducted her into our Athletic Hall of Fame.
When you look at, you know, women like Vivian Stringer and Pat Summitt, Sue Gunner, and, you know, Sonia Hogue, and what they have done, Lynn Dunn, to work for Title IX, to put a product on the floor to show that women can coach. Then you have Robin Roberts and what she's done as a broadcaster to show that not only can you coach, but play, but you can also analyze the game. So I couldn't even put myself in the same category to call myself a pioneer.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
I had so much fun watching you watch that video with your husband, Jim. Thank you for being here today. That video was filmed before the women's Final Four in a series that the Tennesseans did with the Elite Eight women's basketball players from Tennessee. That was very fun to watch.
That's the first time I've seen it.
Is it?
Yeah. So I was trying not to get all misty.
I like that picture of you playing overseas.
Oh, yeah, that was in Japan. So I do want you to know that I know that Japan is not in Europe, but I went to first, and then I went to Japan. But yeah, the days of going in Japan, that was a whole new experience there. I'm 6'4", and the next tallest player on my team was 5'11". Yeah.
So you were from the hometown of Monica Fatnasson, Jefferson City, that's what it's known for.
Yes.
And the lead mother at Carson, she did as
One of my professors.
Professor Dr. Beck. But tell me about growing up in Jefferson City and your parents, siblings, kind of give us a sense of you growing up.
Well, I was
small town in Tennessee.
Yeah, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, but only lived there for 3 months before my dad came back. He'd always dreamed of working at TVA. And so when he got the job at TVA, he moved the whole family back to Tennessee, and that's where my grandparents, his side of the family, live, and his whole family. We all live within probably a half a mile of each other. But I've got 2 brothers, and one of the things as far as sports goes, when Stephen, my oldest brother, started bringing home trophies from the swim team and baseball, and those trophies started mounting up, I was like, I'm going to win a trophy. So my mom enrolled me in swim lessons that turned into getting on the swim team. So, you know, here's this tall, lanky little girl in the middle of the swimming pool, and at the end of that, you know, when they won the race and got a ribbon, you would have thought that was a national championship. So that's where, you know, competing, you know, it really grew. And my brother went on to play, got a college scholarship at Georgia Tech, and he transferred back home and played at Newman. So when he came home to Newman on Sundays, our big thing after church, after we had dinner, we wanted to go to Newman, we'd sneak in the gym and play pickup. Well, I would shoot on the side and he would play pickup. And so I was like, I'm going to play. So, you know, you get your group and say, who's got down? So I was like, I got B5, I'm going. And they looked and I was like, no, I'm playing. So then they let me play. So then the next time we went, Steve picked me to be on his team. So I was like, okay. Then my youngest brother, Michael, who's about 5 years younger than me, he started playing, and it got to a point to where all 3 of us were on the same team. So, you know, sports was competitive, stayed in shape. My husband laughs because where we live over by the lake, in order to get into town, there's a big hill, you've got to go up and down. So both parents working, the only way for me to get to the pool in the summer or get to the gym was to ride my bike. So I rode the bike up the hill and down the hill, spend all day at the pool or the rec center, and then have to ride my bike home. So I stayed about this big around until I moved away from home.
Your parents, your mom was an educator, your dad?
Yeah, my mom, yeah, she taught special ed before she taught at Carson Newman. Then she went to the middle school and started teaching special ed. Then she went on to doctorate and she was teaching classes at the University of Tennessee. My dad was a computer analyst, or he is a retired computer analyst. They're both still with us. The Pecks live forever. My dad's 85, my mom's 81, my great-grandmother lived to be 107. They're actually here in Nashville, moved him into a facility, an assisted living facility here. So we're a close-knit family, you know, it's...
Appreciate you telling us about it, because I think it gives such insight into how you became Carolyn Peck today.
Well, my mom, my senior year in college, she had a bad car accident. She survived that. After 2 years of that, she was diagnosed with colon cancer. She survived that. About 2.5, almost 3 years ago, she had a stroke. She survived that. It's like, there ain't no quit in Pecks.
You know, my mom was born in 1919. She was the tallest person in the room most of the time, and I've experienced that myself. You seem to have embraced your height. I love how you just immediately told us how tall you were.
Oh,
Have you always felt that way even when you were young?
I never realized I was tall because everybody in my family was tall. So for me, it was like normal. And then when I came home from school one Christmas, and this is back in the days of VHS camera came out, and my grandfather videotaped the congregation at a Christmas service, and it was like the congregation and then the Pecks. and I was like, oh, wow, we are tall. But being around, you know, my whole family and always competing with my brothers, you know, and my mom always said to me, look, you need to not worry about when you walk around people staring, worry about when you walk around people don't stare.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know, you had some social media activity this week about your giving some of the net to Dawn Staley and what she's done to pass it on. Talk about giving that net to Dawn Staley and why you did it and what you said to her.
Well, that was, okay, let me back up. When Tennessee won the national championship in '95, I had left the year before and gone to Kentucky. And so when they won the championship, I missed out. And while they were cutting down the nets, Passion Thompson was a lady vol that I coached as a post player. She called me down on the court when they're cutting down the nets, and Passion cut 2 pieces of the net. And when she came down the ladder, she came over and she gave me one of hers, and she said, Coach Peck, I want you to keep this till you win one of your own. I kept that raggedy piece of net tied on my tennis shoe, and everything I did, I could look down and see it, and I kept it forever and ever. Even when I got to Purdue and I get a new pair of shoes, I take my piece of the net off and put it on that shoe, and my assistant would go, that just looks awful. And I'm like, I don't care. There's a reason behind it. So after winning the national championship, and then I started commentating as I'm going around and watching coaches coach, I'm watching Dawn Staley. And the thing that I really appreciated about Dawn is how she related to the players and how she got the most out of each one. And they were having the same kind of fun that we had at Purdue. And I'm like, she's gonna get it done. And I remembered how much it meant for Passion to give me that piece of the net. And so one day after shoot-around, I was calling their game. So I was at shoot-around the day before, and I had taken a card and put the net in it. And it was just a private, like, nobody knew but Dawn and I. And so that was in 2015. In 2017, I wasn't working the Final Four. My husband and I were at the Poorhouse Bar in Mount Juliet. And we're watching the game, and I'm sitting there with two friends of mine, Tiffany and Luther Wright, and I'm like, y'all, she's going to do it. She's going to do it. And then won the game, so we're all emotional that she won, and then my phone started blowing up. And during the press conference, then that's when Dawn brought it out and said, you know, she had been carrying that around in her wallet since 2015. So, now, Dawn's taken it to another level. So she has taken a piece of that net and sent it out to over 74 African-American women to inspire them. And a lot of people go, well, she's making it a race issue. It's not a race issue. It's just to give an incentive and motivation to a community that had been underappreciated or had not been given the opportunity, just to say, you can. And so for her to take that to another level, I never ever imagined, I never thought anybody else would know. And then for her to tell people and then to take it to another level. And I mean, it's just, to me, an example of an opportunity to pay it forward. Just to an opportunity. You never know what action you may take that might inspire somebody else.
You know, you were quoted as telling her when you gave it to her that you were the first, but you don't have a first unless there's a second.
When I walked off the court, the reporter said, you know, congratulations, winning, la, 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 la. How's it feel to be the first African-American woman to win a national championship? Number one, I didn't realize that I was. And then I thought about Phil McGann, who was my English teacher in high school. And I remember getting my paper sent back of doing an outline, and she said, you never have a one unless there's going to be a two. So when you say that there's a first, that meant that there was going to be a second. So
that's what you told Dawn.
That's right.
So well, this isn't supposed to take a long time, and I really would love to sit here and talk to you for a long time, but I'm just going to jump to the final question, and that is, thank you for being a part of our advisory committee to bring a women's professional team to Nashville. And you lived here in Nashville now for a few years, made this your home. Why would Nashville be a good fit for a WNBA team, given your experience with the WNBA and women's basketball?
It is a basketball state. And I think that, you know, with the right organization structure and the support in the right place, I mean, you look at, growing up in East Tennessee, when I played high school basketball, we used to fill the gym up and then they'd leave when the guys came.
That's right.
So now, and then working at Tennessee, you see what can happen there. And Tennessee loves, you know, winners. If you provide a team that can win and, you know, bring great talent here, I think it's a great place. Don't let California outbid us.
Yeah. Right. You have made us so proud in Tennessee and Nashville. Carolyn Peck, you are so deserving of the spotlight. Thank you so much for being here today, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Such an honor. Thank you.
Again, Carolyn, thank you so much for being here. You are truly a great example and a role model and a legend in your own right. So we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got to take off. I'm packing battle for the Atlantis this weekend Monday.
Good job.
Maybe we just heard from our first WNBA coach in Nashville, Tennessee.
And also, thank you, Director Bim. That was great.
You know, I had a lot of fun with that.
I know you enjoyed it too. Thank you. Okay, moving right along, we'll move into our Executive Director's report. Monica?
Well, good morning, everyone. That was great. It was a lot of fun. The agenda is short. It's to the point, mainly just updates with one action item related to soccer that will come to the board during the Mls Stadium Report. I do have a few quick updates. First, on our open administrative position, I think you all know the job market is just really challenging right now when it comes to talent, and we employers are doing everything they can to find talent, to retain talent. And we were looking for a certain combination of education and experience. I think I came to you a couple months ago and told you how many applications we have, and as we've reviewed those, we just have not found the right candidate yet. And so I've had a number of conversations with Human Resources. They tell me this is across Metro, right? This is just a challenge. So we will end up, continuing to work with HR, reviewing and taking another look at the announcement. We'll end up posting it again. And we are very anxious to get the right person in, but we do want to be the right person. So we will report more when we have more information, but that's where we are at this time. Budget season is right around the corner. Mid-year budget discussions with the finance department start next month. And then the kickoff for FY23 budget season will be probably towards the end of January. So we will start those conversations once again after the holidays. The Finance Committee will almost definitely need to meet in January, and so we will we'll circle back around with a date for that meeting. Also, for those of you who don't know, Metro does have a new finance director. Kelly Flannery is serving in that position. She previously served as CFO for the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, and prior to that, she was the deputy CFO for the city of Chicago. And I had just a brief introductory WebEx meeting with her a week or two ago, and really looking forward to working with her, and she's excited to understand more of what it is that we're doing here. And then finally, earlier this month, I had an opportunity to give a short presentation to Metro Council's Public Facilities, Arts and Culture Committee. Council member Van Ree serves on that committee. And it was a real brief presentation, and mainly just an update on what our facilities are doing, but I think it's important to take advantage of those opportunities as we can. So I appreciate the committee extending that invitation. That's it. Any questions? That concludes my report.
Thank you, Monica. Next, we have Margaret Bam, who will give an update on the work of the Women's Ad Hoc Committee. Margaret.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank the Sports Authority staff and the committee members for their enthusiasm and work behind this Title IX spotlight. It really takes a lot of work, particularly the staff, and I think it's just been extremely successful, and thank you so much for all that you all have done to make that happen. And we've had a terrific response. I think you've mentioned that too, Kathy, from the YouTube videos and recordings of the spotlights. And we will hope to continue this through the June 23rd, 2022 anniversary, 50th anniversary of Title IX. The committee continues to work with our consultants at CAA Icon. Brian Slater is here today. Thank you, Brian. If you put your hand up so that some of you all have talked a lot with him on the phone, but that's the face to whom you've been talking with. The committee has reviewed, in particular, and reached out to our partners to assist with the distribution of a marketing survey which we anticipate will be distributed right after Thanksgiving on November 30th. And I want to particularly thank these partners who've agreed to assist with the distribution of the survey. And first, the Predators. Thank you so much, because here we are today. And the Sounds, and I think I see, thank you, Sounds. And the athletic departments of Lipscomb, Vanderbilt, Belmont, TSU, and MTSU, which is really significant that they're partnering with us. And the National Convention and Business Corporation, in addition to Cable Nashville, a group called Awake, the Lawyers Association of Women, and the YWCA. So that is really a strong response from our community. They've been quick to respond and say, sure, we want to help out. We're seeing a lot of enthusiasm for this effort to bring a women's professional team to Nashville. The consultants are also putting together the economic impact study and corporate interviews, and the chamber has been very helpful to us with helping with these corporate interviews. So that's also exciting. I wanted you all to know that they're involved too. And there are more than one chamber. Also the minority chambers are being contacted too. So we have the outreach there. So I anticipate we're going to have a really good report by the time of our January board meeting, our full board meeting. But we have scheduled a committee meeting on Wednesday, January the 12th. And it's at the Sports Authority Conference Room to review the consultant's findings. So we would love it if all of you all could come to that. We'll ask our advisory committee members, those of you who are part of that, to also make a note of that, January the 12th, Sports Authority Conference Room at 9:00 a.m. And finally, I want to thank Margaret Darby and our attorney, who we might hear more about a little bit later, but I want to thank you, Margaret, for all that you have done for this committee. You have been behind the scenes, but you have been a tremendous supporter, and you have made sure that we can do our work and accomplish our goals. So I'm very appreciative, and I hope you will continue to be part of what we do. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions or welcome any comments.
Any questions on the ad hoc committee? If not, I'd just like to say that I'm really excited that we are at a place. I think, Margaret, I think you're very comfortable with the way we've moved this program forward. I'm looking forward to January and the updates, and just a lot of excitement. I think, Monica, I think you recently did a news piece, interview.
Yes, on Channel 5.
Yes, so the synergy is around and it's coming, so thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Next, we'll have the Mls Stadium Report. Carolyn Greenlee will kick off with the monthly safety and DBE report, which will be followed by a construction and stadium update.
Madam Chair, while Carolyn's getting up, I just apologize for being late. I just set eyes on Bob Lackey, and I just want to say welcome back, Bob. It's tremendous that you're here, and just so good to see you. So. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us back here again. But anyway, thank you. I'm here to report on a couple of things, Mr. May, and one in particular that we're very, very proud of is the report that will indicate to you and all of us that this project is going on very well. The next slide, please. This slide here is what we're really, really proud of. As you can see there, we have 656,795 hours. Those hours represent 414 days free, no injuries. No. We like for the workers to come to work and go back home the same way with no injuries. It makes it very, very good for us to walk out on the site and feel the enthusiasm and the positive attitudes that the workers have. And part of it is because no entries. In addition to that, we have a 30% goal on that project set by Metro BAO. And I'm still proud to say that currently we are at 36% awarded to date. And of that 36%, we have spent at a rate of 38% with SMWPEs. We continue to exceed the goal that was established back during the initial RFP. And that is a good feeling, considering how tough it is in the market today to keep the workers working and also to achieve and exceed the goal that was set for SMWPEs. These are small companies, and it's hard for them to keep their workers working, but they're there. And the 36% represent where we are in terms of the goal, in terms of the awards currently, and the 38% represents money spent with those individuals. As you can see in the packet, the goal on workforce was set, it was self-imposed by Mortis and Messer, up 22%. Currently, the next slide, please. This slide that you see in front of you now represents the SMWPE participation awards at $74 million plus with SMWPEs. Of that, you also see the breakdown in terms of women-owned businesses at 50%, minority-owned businesses at 40%, and small businesses at 10%. We are exceeding the goal that has been established. In addition to that, our next slide, please. This young man, as I was about to say, in terms of the workforce of 22% set by Mortis and Messer themselves, we are at 46% of women and people of color at number of hours worked on the project. This young man here is a project manager. He's also the son of one of our small business partners, Southern Contractors LLC. He is being mentored by his father to take over his business in the next few years. He is a graduate of Savannah. He told me to make sure I don't say SCAD, but that's what it is. It is the Savannah College of Art and Design. And he has a bachelor's degree, and he works on the MLS project, hoping that he will do as well as his father has done. And this is another spin on our highlighting those individuals on our projects. In the past, we have highlighted a female, 2 females, 1 minority, 1 Hispanic woman, and now a young man who's looking forward to taking over his daddy's business. This is what this project is doing. And also, as you can see, he has a statement here, and it's a blessing to be part of such an amazing project. This stadium is going to change the Nashville scene for years to come. This is, again, the enthusiasm that individuals working on this project feel about this project. The workers, the trade partners have bought into this project, and that's why you see when you go out on this project, that is one of the most cleanest project. It is the most safest project that I have worked on in almost 30 years. And I want to thank you all for allowing us to come and share the experience that we are experiencing on the project, and so are our workers and our trade partners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Greenleaf? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Mary Kavara here on behalf of Nashville SC, and I'll provide a brief update on the stadium construction. And then we also have a couple of sponsorship matters to cover. Before I start, I would like to recognize Kellen DeCourcy with CAA Icon, who you've met over the past several months. I'm sad to report that he's now leaving our project, but he's not going far. He'll be joining the Tennessee Titans. And in his place, I'd like to introduce Brent Beardsley with CAA Icon, who worked on the Orlando project. The two of them have worked to have a seamless transition. You know, we know where Kellen's living, and so we can reach back to him if we need to. But just wanted to let everybody know we're still in good shape going forward. Next slide, please. The stadium project continues to make excellent progress. This picture is a northeast aerial view of the stadium. You can see the progress on the site with also the infrastructure work on the Benton Avenue extension that's in front of the stadium. Next slide. This is an aerial view from the south end looking toward downtown. On the south end, you can see the progress on the south parking lot as well as the loading dock. The exterior work on the back of the house or the south area is nearly complete. The work on the canopy roofing membrane continues. And at this stage, there's work going on at all parts of the stadium, and there's currently approximately 600 workers on site. So when you hear the safety statistics and everything else, it's really quite remarkable. We also achieved a major milestone of clearing the pitch earlier this month, and the folks have started with the underfield plumbing and the drainage work, and we expect to install the natural grass in March of 2022. Next slide, please. This slide illustrates progress in different parts of the stadium, including the west premium areas on the exterior, the MMA covering on parts of the concourse, and some of the interior finishes from tile work to millwork, painting, flooring, and ceiling work. So a lot going on there, but it's really starting to take great shape. Next slide, please. The project also remains on budget. We've paid approximately $233 million to date, of which $42 million was paid by Walsh and $191 million from the revenue bonds. And also to date, the development committee has approved just under $6 million of change orders, and we've been able to use our undesignated or our contingency funds to cover those change orders. So at this point, the estimated cost remains unchanged. I also have some really good news that I'm excited to share. As you can see, that construction is going very well. And so we've been working with Mortensen Messer and have been able to move up the substantial completion date to early April 2022. This will allow us to play all 17 home matches in the new stadium. And I just feel this is really a tremendous accomplishment, and it reflects the strong collaboration of all the parties, from the fairgrounds to the Sports Authority, to the various Metro departments, to Mortensen Messer, to CAA Icon, and the folks on the club. It's really kind of Nashvillians pulling together to make this happen, and we're very, very proud of that. I also understand that there's a lot of questions related to parking. I've had these at the fairgrounds meetings. We know it's also a topic here. The fairgrounds campus is really, there's a lot of activity there, and this is a complex issue. We've been working on this topic from the very beginning. We also have a preliminary transportation plan that now we can get a better idea about how the stadium is going to function, that we're refining, and we'll be sharing it with both the Sports Authority and the Fair Board at the January meeting. So it is a topic near and dear to our hearts. Getting people in and out of the facility in a way that makes sense and trying to minimize the impact on the neighborhood is really top of mind on our side. Next slide, please. I'm also thrilled to report that the team is qualified for the playoffs and will be hosting our first match next Tuesday at Mls Stadium against Orlando, and certainly hope that folks can join us. It's really another remarkable accomplishment that we've qualified for the playoffs in both years of being in MLS, and I know there's a variety of records and things that the team's accomplished, and so certainly something that if there's any questions, Ian Ayer, our CEO, is here and I'll be happy to answer. And now I'll move to the item that relates to the resolution. Under the terms of our stadium lease with the authority, we're required to get this board's approval for naming actually the stadium as well as certain areas. And so we have two items that relate to certain parts of the stadium. We're pleased to report that as part of our agreement with Hyundai, we'll be naming 2 center gates on the east side with their name. Also, there's a terrace on the northwest corner of the 2nd level that will be named the Transcard Terrace. Transcard is a global payment technology processing company that's located in Chattanooga. And as I mentioned, if there's any questions on either of these sponsors, Ian or I would be happy to take those questions, or on anything else that we had shared today.
Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Not as much a question as a comment. I think moving up the substantial completion date in light of 400+ days of injury-free work, 600,000+ hours is a remarkable accomplishment. And it really speaks to the thoughtful planning and careful management of the whole team, and I'm rather impressed with that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions? Okay. So you have heard the team's request to name the premium area and center gates. You have a resolution behind tab 4, section 9B of our lease agreement with the team, which requires the team to get approval from the authority prior to naming areas of the stadium. We cannot withhold approval unless the name is controversial, offensive, etc. So with that, and Mary, I might need your assistance in helping me with the names as I go through this. So I'll entertain a motion to approve a resolution approving the request to name a premium area, which I assume is the Transcard Terrace. Okay. And 2 entry gates at the MLS Stadium, which will be Hyundai. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? If not, all in favor of approving this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. At this time, we'll open the floor to questions from the board for any of our facility managers, team executives. Who else? Any questions? Okay. So before we move on to the Bridgestone Arena report, Jim Pashofsky and Monica trained me to say that. I had difficulty with that name. Did I say it correctly? Pashofsky?
Yes, that was very good.
Okay, it's going to follow up with additional information regarding the needed roof repair at First Horizon Park.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I guess a few meetings ago, you all saw the report that came from Roofing Resources, that's Metro's preferred roofing inspector and engineer, that showed some of the scratches and tears and a few holes and things in the roof, as well as some of the sealants. So we followed back up with that and had some architectural, a licensed architect review it, and some of the areas of wrinkles and things you saw in there weren't an installation issue. It was caused by the pull-up from the heavy winds from the tornado, which caused it to delaminate a little bit. So part of the scope to repair that would be to put that back in place. The ponding area, it was confirmed that it had the maximum pitch there, and what they've proposed there is the correct fix for that. And then there was a question about the sealants. And
I'm sorry, and Jim, this is behind tab 5, if you want to follow along.
And then one of the board members had a question about the sealants that were needing repaired. We had an architect look at that as well. And the sealant itself did not fail. It's still showing adhesion to the substrate. What they think happened was during the tornado, the winds flexed the parapet to the point where it caused the inner part of the sealant to tear. So that's what caused that issue. So that'll be repaired as well. And currently, and we're looking at putting the scope out to the 5 metro roofing contractors that have just been selected fairly recently by purchasing. And I think as of yesterday, they had 3 of those contracts back. So as soon as they're all under contract, we're putting a mini RFP out to those 5 roofing contractors to get this work done. So if anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, John. Any questions?
Ma'am? Yes. So, as I recall, the last meeting, the question was essentially just to do additional due diligence to make sure it wasn't any type of failure on part of when it was the roof was installed, and so it sounds like that's what we've done, and the indications are it's been other factors.
Yes, we've had a roofing subcontractor look at it, an engineer look at it, and an architect look at it. So yeah, they all concur that it was mainly from the storm damage, and some of the holes were from some other stuff.
Others. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I think at our last meeting, we also discussed in our lease agreement with that there was a clause in there. Margaret Darby, you may want to answer this. I think we spoke about it last meeting about supposed to be a yearly check of that roof that was in the lease agreement. Did we ever find out for sure if that was true or not?
No, but I'll get back to you. Well, I'll have someone get back to you before the next meeting.
Okay. Well, but it was supposed to be done, and you just want to make sure that if that's the possibility, then who's responsible for doing it? Is it Metro's responsibility to make sure that that's done?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. That's the same question. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. At this time, I'll recognize Kyle Clayton, VP of Operations for the Nashville Predators and Bridgestone Arena, with our Bridgestone Arena report.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
I appreciate that. Welcome. We're really excited to host you guys. I hated I missed last month when you guys were here, but things are busy and things are great. We're getting back to normal, which is really exciting for us. Today, I'm going to lead things off. Danny Butler is going to give you a quick update on an event coming up at Fort Ice Center. Rebecca King is going to talk to you about our foundation, a lot of fun things that are going on there, and then wrap us up today with Michelle Kennedy. So on the arena side, David Kells has been extremely busy. Everything's ramping back up. Everybody's going back on tour. It's a lot of tours and a lot of shows going on right now. If you flash back to March through September, we were averaging about 40,000 guests a month. That's obviously really low for us. It's mostly made up for hockey at the end of last season. As we look ahead, starting in October through next June, as we look at our projections, we're going to average about 140,000 folks a month. So again, we're really excited about where we're at right now and where we're going. October, which we just wrapped up, we had 186,000 guests through the door. So again, a lot of folks are coming back, a lot of shows are on the road, so it's a really exciting time for us. With that, one of the exciting things that I think went out not too long ago was with all that excitement, a lot of those folks coming to the door, we actually finished number 3 in the world for ticket sales in Q3 through Polestar, which is incredible. I mean, number 3 in the world, that's silly. That'll probably never happen again, so let's write that down, but that was really exciting to be part of that. And also with all the activity and everything going on and our relationships that we're booking and all these events, really excited about, once again, we've been nominated for Polestar Arena of the Year. That just came out today, so very excited there. And obviously we wouldn't have all these events if David Kells didn't have the relationships, and he was booking everything he was booking, so he was again nominated for Venue Executive of the Year, so very proud of David for that. And another fun one that he's going to be mad that I say this, but Venues Now, they selected all-star executives that went above and beyond to help bring the live event industry back. And we're proud to announce that Sean Henry was named one of those venue all-stars. So again, a lot going on. We've had a lot of great events this year. We've already had Luke Bryan, Alabama, Blake Shelton, Eric Clapton, Disney on Ice, Dave Chappelle, Zach Brown, CMA Awards, Harry Styles. And as you look ahead, a lot of great events coming up. Chris Stapleton, U.S. Figure Skating Championships, SEC Women's Tournament, John Mayer, Justin Bieber, Roger Waters, Shawn Mendes, and there's a lot that I can't name yet. but it's going to be a very full year. We're very excited about the calendar, what's coming up. So with that, feel free, I'm open for any questions you might have, and feel free to interrupt everybody as we go today if you have any questions. But if there's no questions, I'll pass it on to Danny Butler for a quick Fordyce update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Danny Butler, Vice President, General Manager, Fordyce Center. With the anniversary of Title IX this year, I want to focus kind of on our girls hockey initiatives that we've had last 18 months to last year. Right before COVID, we announced the launch of the Preds girls hockey program. We were successful in that launch, but kind of rewrote the book on what we're going to do coming out of COVID. With that, we also were awarded a large grant to support girls hockey in Nashville. So since winter of 21, I guess, we relaunched the Preds girls program. We put 221 girls through a hockey program that was completely free, from a learn skate program to a learn play program into our leagues, and provided all necessary equipment for them to play. So it's been really exciting to see that level grow of hockey, which has allowed us to then grow our travel hockey market as well. Last year, the Junior Preds U19 girls program finished second in the nation for travel hockey in their Tier 2 division, which is really exciting to see as well. So as we start to grow from the skating standpoint all the way into U19 travel hockey, we're seeing the girls program really grow in Nashville. Part of the grant that we were awarded last year was to host a girls hockey tournament. We were hosting that at the beginning of February. I think it's February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It is a completely free tournament for 35-ish teams to come from all over the country to play 3 days of hockey in Nashville. So they'll play at both Fordyce Centers that first weekend in February. And the reason we picked that weekend was it is the weekend of Girls and Women in Sports Weekend. So just everything kind of ties together there. So really exciting. I mentioned the Junior Preds girls program and the U19 program and the good things that they've done. They hired a girl or a woman. Her name is Mackenzie Steffen. She played for the University of Wisconsin. She actually played in Nashville 2 years ago when we hosted the Honky Tonk Showdown. Yeah, the Honky Tonk Showdown 2 years ago. So she's a really good asset to girls hockey in the market and has brought a lot of her friends with her to help coach the team. So it's really been exciting there. Tying Mackenzie into what she did here a couple years ago when she came, next week is really exciting. We're hosting, again, we're calling it the Collegiate Women's Hockey Showcase in Nashville. So we have 4 teams coming to Nashville next Friday and Saturday, 4 NCAA teams, 3 of them are ranked in the top 10. We have Collegiate University, Wisconsin, Boston College, and Mercyhurst. Mercyhurst is really exciting because Delaney Collins, who spoke to you guys about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer, that's her alma mater actually. So it'll be really cool to have her tied into what we're doing that weekend. All teams are coming in next Wednesday, so a lot of them are going to come to the game that night. They're all going to practice next Thursday. We're providing a Thanksgiving meal for them. And then Friday at 1 o'clock and 4:30, there'll be 2 games. And then on Saturday will be Saturday will be the 3rd place game and then the championship game. Really exciting. Around that though, we have another 30 girls teams coming to participate that weekend in a youth tournament. So they'll be playing out of Bellevue and Antioch. And it's just really gonna be a lot of fun. We expect to have over 1,000 visitors just coming to the college games that weekend, in addition to the family and friends that'll be coming to the girls tournament. So really excited to be hosting that event next weekend. The Scott Cares event this weekend, which will take place both at Bellevue and at Bridgestone Arena. Kim?
For the collegiate tournament, can you buy tickets at the door? Or
we will. Yeah,
okay.
We're going to sell tickets at the door. So you can buy them online now, or we'll be ready at the door. So right now we're about 500 tickets sold per day. So we assume we'll get to 800-900 to each of those days. So really fun stuff with the girls program. So I don't know if we have a meeting location selected for next month or the month after yet, but if you want to host it in the rinks, we can. And it's been a couple of years, so I don't know if you've been out there, but I'm happy to do that. But if you have any questions about the rinks or girls programs or really anything we're doing, happy to take them. So.
Yes.
Well, you know I loved your report. In fact, it's fabulous. And because we've obviously been listening to how you have continued to increase support of girls and women's hockey, how you've hired folks who know what they're doing to make sure that it's successful. I was just wondering, can you give Monica just a summary of what you just gave her so we can distribute it on some of the networks that we have in women in sports so that we can promote it because it's phenomenal. So thank you for all that effort.
And real quick, the NCAA weekend that we're hosting this year, we're also hosting next year as well. 3 teams are going to be different. I can't remember. I think it's Penn State, Ohio State, and 2 others next year too.
So you already have commitments for next Thanksgiving?
We do, yep.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's exciting.
Add that to your report.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, Rebecca. Luckily, I don't have to follow Rebecca. She's really difficult to Rebecca. So Rebecca King.
As a mom of 2 girls who play hockey, I'm really excited for them to see college women players because they don't get to see it very often. So very excited for that, Danny. Rebecca King, Vice President of Community Relations and Executive Director of the Nashville Prayers Foundation. In talking with Kyle, he said keep it brief. So I'm just going to give you a 1-month high level of what we're doing. Brief is hard for me because we have so much fun with what we do and we achieve so much. Last week, we built a $115,000 playground in East Nashville at the Nashville Classical. It was a collaborative project with a few companies in Nashville. It'll be our 10th build in 10 years and one of our favorite projects for our staff. We also presented Children's Hospital with a $335,000 check to go towards pediatric cancer research and support for the families at Children's Hospital. Then the very next day, we held our Hockey Fights Cancer game at the arena, and we raised $70,000 towards next year's big check. One of our highlights was we had a bone marrow donor meet his recipient. Recipient drove up from Louisiana. He was a 12-year-old boy. The donor was an Ohio State football player whose coach had cancer, and he wanted to do something to give back, so he got on the registry, and the little boy is cancer-free thanks to this donor's bone marrow. On Monday, we're going to be giving the Nashville Adult Literacy Council a super grant for $70,000. That will be one of 4 super grants that we give out this year, which will total about $250,000. On Tuesday, we're going to give out 150 turkey baskets to the community. 50 of them are with Metro Nashville Police. We're going to go to the Napier community, the Sudicum, Chestnut Hill, and also Edge Hill. And we go door to door with the officers who have pre-selected families. And it's one of our favorite activities to be out and with the officers and see the residents who have built relationships with the officers, and they come out and give hugs, and we get to give them a fantastic meal that our staff have purchased. We also are going to adopt 70 kids from Bethlehem Centers for the holidays. We do an angel tree in our office. Staff take the wish off the tree. And then also 3 of our players, Colton Sissons, Dante Fabro, and also Johansson, all help fund this party. The kids from Bethlehem Centers will be bused to the arena and attend a Preds game. We'll host the party in here. They get all their presents. They get to see the guys play. And it's just going to be a fantastic little event. Also this Friday, we are going to feed the front lines. It's a program we started during COVID. Once a month, we go to a Metro Nashville public school, and we just show up with Hunt Brothers Pizza Truck, and we feed them lunch. We give them goodies, we give them treats, and we just thank them. It's just a very simple activity, but it's something that we found the teachers greatly appreciate. And then you think, what about the animals? We haven't done anything for animals. So we're partnering with Metro Fire Department, and December 11th, we're gonna do a Clear the Shelters. So we're going to pay for all the fees for the animal adoption fees and hopefully help clear the shelters before the holidays. And we're also doing a toy drive for the fire department on December 4th. If you walk out on the plaza after this meeting, you'll see this big red box. It's going to be there for a few months, and it's called a giving machine. And people can donate to a list of local nonprofits in Nashville. And it's just a unique activation that we have on our plaza to help raise more money for our community. This week, we'll have 8 new player banners hung in our rafters, and we have a very active group of guys that want to give back to the community. 2 that I want to highlight. Luke Cunnin is a type 1 diabetic. He was diagnosed at age 12, but he can play high-level hockey with his type 1 diabetes. So he wants to be an advocate to young kids who are going through it as well. So he has 4 season tickets. He brings kids to games, and we've done Zoom calls with the kids, and he really wants to be an advocate for these kids if they have questions about their treatment. And then Mikhail Granlund has bought 4 season tickets, and he invites healthcare heroes. We want to continue to thank them as they work in the community and do so much for us. So that's just a 4-week period of what we're doing. didn't talk about our golf tournament, our dinner for Petey's party, our clay shoot, our fishing tournament, or a hockey tournament that we had for kids. So we have a lot going on, but we are so excited that we get to do all of these activities and things are coming back alive and we get to do more and more. Any questions?
No, that was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I benefited, Michelle Kennedy, COO, Nashville Predators, Bridgestone Arena. I think I benefited today from a little bit of technical difficulty. Rebecca usually has a video, and usually whoever follows Rebecca is just looking at a room full of crying teachers. Yeah. So thanks, Kyle, for sparing me that. I want to start by echoing some things that we've heard already today. I think this Title IX spotlight is absolutely amazing. Betty was terrific last month. Carolyn was great. When I saw that Carolyn was on the agenda, I thought to myself, I need to catch up with Carolyn. We need to have dinner. Now I remember I should probably get her autograph. But it's been absolutely amazing. And you know, even though I'm not much younger at all than Carolyn and Kathy, they are absolute pioneers. And we don't talk about Kathy enough. I think Kathy probably makes sure that's the case. But Kathy and Carolyn are the two people. My only similarity with Kathy and Carolyn is that I played at Vanderbilt. That's where the similarities end. They have numbers on both sides of the decimal of their statistics. You've got to round up to get there for me. But they have created so many wonderful opportunities for so many people. And I'm grateful for that personally. And I think about our staff, and we have right now about 20 female employees who were college athletes. That wouldn't have been possible without all these things that we've talked about and all the people who really did pave the way. So thanks,
Carolyn, can I say something? Absolutely. You've made us awful proud, Michelle. Absolutely. You really have. So you should give yourself some credit.
Well, I have a whole lot of folks to thank for having the opportunities that I've had. So thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you for putting a spotlight on this very important initiative. So on to my day job. We are open for business, and wow, what a month. 22 events between concerts, hockey games, foundation, and October. So we have been taking a bit of a collective breath early in November, but are ready to get back at it. So our hockey team has gotten off to a really good start, and I think that's surprised a few people, unless you work in this building and you haven't been surprised by that. We have won 8 of the last 11 games. We have stars playing like stars, and that's what we're most excited about. Matt Duchesne, Roman Yossi, Mikhail Granlund each have 16 points in 16 games. That's a very impressive statistic for those of you who are not that very into hockey statistics. One of the most important things that we've done, however, harkening back to Title IX, we have hired our first women's hockey coach. We have a coach who is a woman. We have a skating coach for our men's team who is a woman. Her name is Jackie Manziel. She just joined us a few months ago. So we are absolutely embracing diversity, and we are so pleased to be able to make that announcement. A couple other things, and then we're running long, so I'm not going to stay up here very long. UC Saros was the Hockey News' first star of the week this past week, which is really exciting. UC, who has stepped in and filled the very, very big shoes of Pekka Rinne, is having a terrific season and is showing that he deserves to be where he is. On the topic of Pekka, we recently announced that we will be retiring his jersey in February, the most appropriate jersey retirement. That will be our kickoff to a weekend of hosting the Stadium Series outdoor game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning. We're excited to partner with our friends with the Titans and Nissan Stadium for that in February. So the NHL sees us as a prime destination for their tentpole events, and so we hope to recreate and then build on the All-Star Game and the Stanley Cup Final. So it is a great time in Smashville. It's a great time to be here. I want to thank a couple people before we wrap up today. Margaret Darby, you've been awesome. We have had such fun working with you for all these years. We appreciate all that you have done to move things forward and to help us through the good times and the bad times. So we wish you well. We will miss you, and come back and visit anytime. It's a public meeting. We'll welcome you back. And then Bob Lackey. I mean, thank goodness Bob Lackey's back. When I drove to the Sports Authority meeting, as I was driving into work, the last Sports Authority meeting, Bob called me. And it made my day. And he said, my goal is to be in person at the next one. And here he is today. Welcome back. We are so excited to see you. And then again, good luck to the Titans as you continue to slay the NFL. Good luck to Nashville FC this weekend. It is a fantastic, fantastic time to be here. And thanks for being here today. We will see you next month. And if you don't have any questions, I will turn it back over to Kathy. But if you do have questions, I'll stand here and chat for a while longer.
Awesome. Thank you for that report, Michelle. And like Director Ben said, you have represented female athletes so well in the position that you serve. And so we are so happy to partner with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank the president for everything. So I would be remiss if I had not acknowledged that Bob Lackey is back here, but I think everyone that gave a report acknowledged that Bob Lackey is back. And we're so happy to see you. Would you like to say anything?
I'll just shout from here. It is wonderful to be back. Thank each and every one of you for everything you've done. Comments, prayers, cards, emails, texts. I love you all. Thank you.
So this concludes our agenda, and I'd like to thank the members of the board, Sports Authority staff, Metro Legal and Finance, our facility team representatives and project managers for your input today. Again, as always, we thank Bridgestone for hosting us. The food was delicious. Thank you so much. Last but certainly not least, we want to say a very special thank you to our attorney, Margaret Darby, who has advised us so well over the years. I think, Margaret, it's been about 10 years?
I think it might be more closer to 12.
Okay.
It's
been a while.
Has it been 10?
Who's counting?
Right. Well, for those who haven't heard, Margaret is leaving us to serve as director of the Metro Council's council office. You've been a valuable member to our team, and we wish you all the best. Hopefully we will continue to cross paths and work with you. Would you like to say anything at this time?
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed working with all of you and all of the former members of the board, and wanted to let everybody know that Josh Thomas, who's sitting over here in the audience, will be taking my place, and I think that you will be very well served by him. He is, as many people in this room are, a Vanderbilt law graduate. He did go to Vanderbilt. He also went to Yale University, so you're getting a really smart guy coming in to take my place. He will be well taken care of, and thank you. Thank you for the flowers.
Thank you. Well, as you know, it is our practice that we generally do not meet in December. This means that the next full board meeting will be Thursday, January 20th. The Women's Ad Hoc Committee will meet on January 12th, I think at 9 o'clock, is that correct, Margaret? And staff will send out invitations to that meeting and any updates. If there's nothing else, I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe holiday, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.